Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here, and today we're going to have another Metagame Monday. Today we're going to be discussing the top 5 best offensive and defensive Pokemon in SSOU. I figured I'd make something more simple and straightforward because why not? We've had a lot of complex topics lately, and I think this would be kind of fun to go over some of the best Pokemon in the tier. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the best 5 offensive Pokemon, and then transition to the best 5 defensive Pokemon. And at number 5, for the most offensive Pokemon is going to be... best offensive Pokemon is going to be Xero Aura. Xero Aura is a Pokemon that's been released since Pokemon Home came out all the way back early this year in February, March, and it's not disappointed. Last generation was a pretty pedestrian presence, but this generation, it's been nothing short of fantastic. With Plasma Fist, Close Combat, Knockoff, and Volt Switch being the most common set, it also used to run things like Grass Knot, Play Rough, Bulk Up, even Toxic on occasion, and those are all still more than viable options. You could even run Blaze Kick, or a fully special set with Thunderbolt, Grass Knot, Focus Blast, Knockoff, Volt Switch type moves as well. You can run Calm Mind if need be. There's a lot of things Xero Aura can do, but it does compress some really important roles, which is what makes it as good as it is. Those roles are being immune to Electric, being able to check some flying types like Togekiss, and also being a form of speed control. Xero Aura is the fastest Pokemon in the metagame. It's 1 point quicker than Dragapult, quicker than Alakazam, and quicker than other fast Pokemon as well, such as Gengar, Drakion, etc. Overall, Xero Aura is a destructive presence, and while it can be walled by common Pokemon like Amoonguss or Gastrodon if it lacks things like Grass Knot, it absolutely can play around those things. It can still function as in the role it needs to as a piece of speed control and a check to moves like Volt Switch, being able to do nicely against Pokemon like Magnezone, and because of this, it makes Xero Aura a really underrated presence in my opinion. Moving on to number 4, we have Rilla Boom. Rilla Boom is arguably one of the best Pokemon in the metagame, and here's why. It has the ability Grassy Surge, which summons Grassy Terrain upon entry and makes it a really strong Pokemon. It can abuse this with the move Grassy Glide, which is a Space 70 priority move that is a priority move whenever Grassy trains up. So it's a stab move with priority that's not only stronger under Grassy Train, but also a priority move under Grassy Train. And on top of that, it's one of the known signature moves that is alongside Drum Beating. Unfortunately, Drum Beating is not as useful. Only grass moves you see on it tend to be Grassy Glide and Wood Hammer. Wood Hammer really only seeing use on Choice Band sets, and Choice Band sets, of course, can also run Knockoff or Superpower and U-Turn. Swords and sets are also very common, be it with no item or with the Grassy Seed and Acrobatics, things like Amoonguss and Tangrowth, or with Life Orb, Superpower, Knockoff, Stomping Tantrum, etc., whatever you wish. It's a very strong Pokemon, and I definitely would recommend trying it out if you were interested in seeing what it had to offer in the SSOU metagame. It's very strong, it has nice defensive presence, it can actually check things like the aforementioned Xero Aura, and also revengeful Pokemon like the aforementioned Xero Aura again, Excadrill, Ishifu Rapid Strike, even Ishifu Single Strike from 65-70% if it's a Choice Bander as well. And that goes a long way towards making Rilla Boom a very viable presence, especially on hyper-offensive teams where it's great at stopping opposing offense and also giving you terrain to abuse with various Pokemon, including things like Hawlucha, which can run on Burden plus Grassy Seed. However, that's not it. At number 3, we have Volcarona, the Fire Moth, if you will. The Quiver Dance makes it very good. It has a lot of versatility within the Quiver Dance sets. You can run defensive sets with Roost, even Safeguard or 2 attacks, substitute whatever you might like. You could run 3 attacking offensive sets. There are a ton of moves you can run: Fire Blast or Fiery Dance or even Flamethrower, Bug Buzz, Psychic, Giga Drain, what have you. Again, Roost, Substitute, Safeguard, all options. And of course, Quiver Dance is max, is like a staple on it. It's relatively fast with base 100 speed, outrunning things like the aforementioned Rilla Boom. Both are Ishifu forms, Kyurem, Hydreigon, and it also has decent special bulk, letting it take a couple specialists, especially with Quiver Dance boosted up. Of course, it is pretty frail on the physical defensive end, but that's fine, as it's able to resist a decent amount of physicals as well, such as moves from, say, grass types or fighting types. On top of that, it also has a lot of things going for it this generation that weren't there previously. For example, it has heavy duty boots, which is just amazing and makes it so that it's not taking 50% from Stealth Rock or taking spikes or toxic spikes every single time it comes in, which goes a long way for Volcarona, which previously was very support reliant and now is a bit less so. Yeah, it does still fall to things like Dragapult, Rhyperior if it lacks Ski Drain, and Blissey, but with that said, it still is a great standalone Pokemon, and with the port it can be even better, so definitely try out Volcarona if you're interested in a potent special sweeper, as it is the best one the tier has to offer. Next up, we have Ishifu, and I don't unfortunately have many gifts for Ishifu, but this is Ishifu Single Strike form. I'm putting it at number 2. While it's definitely the most broken physical attacker in the tier, and attacker in the tier at large, in my opinion, I certainly believe that it's held back a little bit in that you're only seeing it on, a specific portion of teams, so maybe only use like 15-20% of the time, whereas Pokemon above it is used almost 50% of the time, and for great reason. But with that said, Urshifu is a potent physical attacker with Wicked Blow, Close Combat, and Iron Head or Poison Jab to Fairy types. It has the ability Unseen Fist, which let it hit through Protects, which makes even things like Wish plus Top or Clefable not a particularly good check to it, and it makes it so that you cannot really scout out the Choice Band variants, which is completely shaped the counterplay around it. It makes it very hard to keep in check consistently. But even if you do keep the Choice Band set in check consistently with like a core of like Toxfix or Amoonguss plus Mandibuzz or Roost Hydreigon, then you still have to watch out for things like the Bulk Up set, which can chew up those cores, sweep them with ease. And with that said, a boosted Urshifu is absolutely potent. Yeah, it does not have the best special bulk, but still with great typing, only really devastated by fairy types and coverage those fairy types. I believe that Urshifu is an absolutely dominant physical attacking presence in the metagame, and it's a staple on a specific amount of offensive teams. So yeah, I would definitely advise trying that out. Next up, and at number 1, we have Dragapult. In my opinion, Dragapult is the best offensive Pokemon in the metagame right now. This might come as a surprise to some of you as you just see Dragapult as like, oh, your balance staple, it's a form of speed control, but really, it actually does so much more. Hex sets on Dragapult are so ridiculously threatening. You get a status on things like Clefable, which, yeah, they don't really mind being burnt or toxic. They're Thunder Wave, maybe a little bit, but not that bad. And all of a sudden, Hex is 2 killing everything, and even 2 kills the physically defensive Clefable. I mean, Toxapex, if you get Thunder Wave, they're burnt, all of a sudden it's no longer a check. The list goes on. Yeah, sure, there are things like Mandibuzz that check it, but with Dragon Darts and potentially even running the substitute set, it's great against things like Blissey even. And yeah, Blissey might be able to get a Thunder Wave up, but Toxic Blissey's dropping in usage. And obviously, Seismic Toss can't do much to it. Couple that with the fact they can run U-turn. Even spec sets with status, if you don't mind dropping heavy-duty boots, can go a long way. All in all, Dragapult is a great option. It's an amazing pivot. It's super threatening for a Pokemon that's that fast and kind of meant to be as more of a pivot that's speed control for him, but that said, it's a very great all-around Pokemon. It has some nice versatility, and the heavy-duty boots hex sets with the right kind of support can go such a long way in my eyes. And I feel as if that makes it so that Dragapult is one of the best Pokemon in the tier and the single best offensive Pokemon. I do rank it above Urshifu in terms of overall viability. That does not mean I think Urshifu is less effective or less broken, but rather Dragapult you see far more often and it fits onto more teams, and that is simply a fact. The most broken Pokemon don't always have to fit into most teams, but rather they have to be the most effective and restrictive to building teams at large, if that makes sense. So I hope that clears that up. But yeah, in my opinion, Dragapult is a top 3 or 4 Pokemon in the tier, and it is the absolute best offensive Pokemon that you will be seeing. However, there are some defensive Pokemon that we're going to be talking about as well. But first, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching the channel. We've been making a lot of strides lately, and I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting. Recently, we've been releasing some videos about DLC 2, and while I've been having some technical difficulties, I'm still trying to pump out a video every day or so, and maybe even more. I'm going to have some tournament game coverage, again, more DLC 2 coverage as well, so definitely stay tuned for that, and more stuff on SSOU, National Dex OU, and other tiers that I like playing as well, so stay tuned. And if you guys are enjoying these videos, be it the Metagame Mondays or the other stuff I just alluded to, it'd mean the world to me if not only if you could subscribe to the channel, because only about 55 to 60% of you guys are actually subscribed, and I know a lot of people are watching the channel consistently, guys, so it would mean the world if I could get that up to the 6,000 real soon, because we're at 5.2k right now, and that's amazing already. But also, if you guys can, engage with me in the comments. I love hearing what you guys have to say, be it positive or negative feedback, whatever it might be. But yeah, no, I appreciate it so much, and thank you for the support. And now, let's get into the most defensive Pokemon, the 5 best defensive Pokemon in the tier. And at number 5, we're going to have the infamous Toxapex. Previously, it would have been absolutely at number 1 or 2, but it has actually seen a bit of a fall from grace recently, with a lot of teams taking advantage of it, and with there being less hyper offense for it to kind of, haze all over and just spread status and whatnot. It's really manageable, especially with there being a recent emphasis on item displacement, i.e. knocking or tricking Toxics, which makes it less effective, of course, spikes being up, which makes it harder to switch into, and above all else, also just being okay against status spread. A lot of teams have been shifting to that, and even with things like Dragapult and Toxapex running rampant, there's definitely a lot of room to counteract defensive status spread, or at least minimize the effect it has, and because of that, Toxapex has been minimized. Of course, with all the downsides that you might be seeing in the current metagame, it's still Toxapex is still an absolutely fantastic Pokemon. It can keep a lot of things in check. It doesn't really hard counter much. For example, let's take something like Dragapult or Urshifu. Yeah, there's a chance it could get 2 killed by the specs or band set respectively, or there's a chance they could get set up on, but also there's a chance they could toxic them or knock them off or scald burn them or whatever it might have you, and then eventually win the 1v1. So it really can go both ways. In that sense, it's a great soft check to a whole slew of Pokemon, but it's not really counter it because that you have to also be very careful with it in team building. It really only works on a specific number of teams, and with Stall being at what could be an all-time low right now, due to recent shifts in the metagame, I feel as if Toxapex has definitely seen a big shift in usage. You'll notice in the next viability rankings update, which I'll make a video on in the next couple days, we're going to see Toxapex fall from S to A+, and I think that's really where it belongs. Now, at number 4, we have the next Pokemon. That's Amoonguss, another Poison-type Regenerator Pokemon that's more of a wall-oriented Pokemon. And Amoonguss honestly has been thriving right now because it's able to check things like Ishifu Rapid Strike, Calm Mind, Clefable. With the Assault Vest set, it's great against things like Dragapult and Aegislash as well, whereas if you run a bit more physical defense or Rocky Helmet, you're good against Pokemon like potentially Urshifu. You can come to close combat, or U-Turn, or Iron Head, what have you, and Scout Wicked Blow if it's Choice Banded. And beyond that, you're also amazing. You're one of the few hard counters to Xero Aura, if it's not running Blaze Kick in particular, and you're something to really come in and out a lot, and threat status can go a long way. You know, Sludge Bomb can poison things like Mandibuzz, Spore can force things to sleep if they're not Grass type, or overcoat Mandibuzz, and so on and so forth. Stun Spore Process, also a great tool in the metagame. Because of that, I believe that finally Amoonguss has overtaken Toxapex, and if you follow the most recent Smelgon Snake draft, or you play a bit higher in the ladder, you'll notice that there's been a great shift in usage. Amoonguss has been trending up a ton lately, and I mean, I don't have the high laddered usage stats. I believe the Toxapex is just a little bit above it, but now, but you saw in my usage stats video the other day that unfortunately I haven't memorized, but Toxapex is dropping a lot in usage. It went from like 4 or 5 at some point. Now it's like 8 or 9. It's not very good compared to where it once was. Obviously, it's still a great Pokemon, and yeah, you see Amoonguss is on its way up, and I mean, in Smelgon Snake draft, just for example, it's one of the most used Pokemon. It's just because it compresses so many roles, it actually counters things, whereas it might not check as much as Toxapex, it kind of fulfills some certain duties in the team building checklist, if that makes sense, and that goes such a long way. And Amoonguss is honestly a great underrated option right now, and it's definitely one of my top 5 defensive Pokemon. However, at number 3, we have a Pokemon that's even better, and perhaps even more polarizing, and that's Blissey. Blissey is an absolute beast on the specially defensive end, and also with Teleport plus Heavy Duty Boots, it makes it a phenomenal pivot. All in all, Blissey fits on the balance teams well, and of course, it's also great on the not-so-common stall teams nowadays. On balance, though, it's a really good pivot. It's actually able to promote proactive play, which I kind of find surprising from Pokemon like Blissey, but now Teleport really enables that, and I think that's really cool. It can also paralyze things or toxic things to wear them out, Sizing Toss, yeah, or potentially if it wants to forego running Teleport, it can run Stealth Rock, which is alright as well. All in all, of course, it's a great check to things like Specs-Churum, Corbinite Volcarona, Specs Dragapult, and so on and so forth. It does have its shortcomings, though. It's reliant on keeping its item intact, otherwise it can be worn out by hazards. It can take some residual damage, and because of that, and in addition to that, physical attackers like Ishifu, Rilla Boom, Hawlucha, close combat Aegislash, etc. are really able to take advantage of it, so you have to be very careful there, not to mention things like Extra, which is also immune to both Toxic and Thunder Wave, so yeah, that goes a long way there. But yeah, all things considered, Blissey is a great Pokemon, and I definitely would advise trying it out on your balance teams. Next up at number 2, we have Corbinite. Corbinite is the best defogger in the current metagame, while it can get Magnezoned. With that said, it's also a great check to Pokemon like Excadrill, Rillaboom, Clefable, potentially in a pinch if it's not a Calm Mind variant as well, and so on and so forth. It also is a form of hazard removal that actually beats opposing hazard setup. For example, it could defog on Clefable, it could potentially outlast things like Skarmory, and I mean, it does well against Hippowdon, of course, and the list goes on and on and on. Beats Tyranitar with Body Press and so on. Whereas Pokemon like Mandibuzz tend to lose to almost all, if not all, of those Pokemon, which is the main competitor in terms of defogging. And all in all, between pressure, having great defensive utility, and also not really being the most passive Pokemon due to having U-Turn, I think Corbinite's one of, if not the best Pokemon in metagame. It's probably like number 3 or 4 for me as well. So yeah, but coming in at number 1 in terms of defensive Pokemon and overall is the Beast of Utility, the main and really only Urshifu check that is OU by usage, Clefable, and Clefable is undoubtedly the best Pokemon in the tier right now. Like it or not, it's there. I preferred Calm Mind sets, but Stealth Rock and Utility sets are great as well. Like, it run Trick, it run Calm Mind, Moonblast, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Stored Power, Psyshock, Thunderbolt, knockoff, Seismic Toss, Rocky Helmet, Leftover, Sticky Barb, Choice Scarf, Stealth Rock, Moonblast, etc. Soft Boiled, Wish, Teleport, Protect, the list goes on and on and on. It's Clefable. It offers so much to teams, and I definitely would advise trying it out on your team because, you're going to kind of be holding yourself back if you don't use it. And unfortunately, there's some metagames that we're in with Ishifu, so, I already went on my tired about Ishifu, so that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I definitely would advise trying out Clefable in the SSOU metagame. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Metagame Monday. I know this was not the most long or extensive one, but I'm kind of refilling my kind of list of topics to come up with for next week's gonna be definitely better. And also, I'm really pumped up to get DLC 2 content, and also just fixing some computer issues because unfortunately it's kind of been an awkward transition between computers. So yeah, thanks for bearing with me. I'm still getting daily uploads up, so I hope that's all right with you guys. Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out, guys. All right, bye.